Hi, welcome to my strategy for implementing instructional technology video. Whether you're an instructional designer, administrator, or project manager, you may be in the position to make a decision regarding adapting a new technology in your workplace. This video will go over the four-step process and give you guiding questions along the way. If you have any questions for me, visit my website to find my contact information. Instructional designers are often called upon to make decisions regarding instructional technologies. Each situation is unique and requires different strategies to be employed. However, there are many important considerations to be made before a new technology is adapted, and these come from several frameworks. Employing this strategy, you can weigh the options and make an informed decision regarding technology implementation. Before you even begin weighing one technology against the other, there is some essential information that you must collect. First, who are your learners? This is a deeper look into empathizing with the users of this technology. What do they respond to? How do they like to learn? Then, what are your goals or learning objectives for the new technology? What will learners be able to do with it? Finally, as you make a list of possible technologies, make sure you align the function of the technology with the learning objectives. Ask yourself how the content or task is being enhanced by the use of technology you will select. In the decision phase, there are several more guiding questions. The first set of questions is in regards to learning tasks. In your implementation of the new technology, how will learners show that they are learning? What choices do they get to make? Choice is a really important key to adult learning because it creates a sense of buy-in and ownership of learning. Then, how will the learners interact with the instructor and amongst themselves? Finally, how will learning be evaluated? The next set of questions tends to the needs of the learners. First, how will you teach the learners about the new technology? It is important to consider the difficulty of the task and make sure to address it in any training. Also, it is important that the learners make the technology function. If simply operating the technology is too hard, learners will feel overloaded. Make sure that your training eases the cognitive load for learners. Next, what level of cognitive ability does the task require? According to Bloom's taxonomy, learners will acquire more by applying new knowledge instead of simply reciting facts. It's critical to also consider learners with special needs. Even if you don't have anyone with visual, auditory, motor, or cognitive impairments now, you may in the future. Plus, providing accommodations for them will actually benefit all learners. Next, you need to decide how learners will interact with materials. Will the learning materials appear in print, video, or online? All of these are things you may consider. Also, what are the motivating factors for learners? Does this technology help them do their job better? Are there policies, incentives, or consequences in place? How will learners be made aware of their progress? Will they receive feedback during the training? Will there be a test afterwards? Will this appear on their evaluations? And finally, learners should be prompted to evaluate their own learning. How will you facilitate this process? Many organizations are very concerned with time and cost of new technologies. That's why it's the final part of our decision phase. You need to consider if the learners need any guidance or training using the technology. Also, are there supplemental technologies that will be needed? For example, if the new technology is web conferencing, your learners may need a webcam, microphone, new software, an account, etc. Next, how will the learner's information be used? Is the technology secure? This is especially important in education and government positions where material might be confidential. What is the initial cost to adopt the technology? Will there be any cost to learners? If so, you need to let them know this ahead of time. What is the cost to maintain use of the technology? And how long do you plan to use it? After considering all of these questions, now you've made the decision and are ready to implement your technology. Before implementation, start with a training plan for your learners. Training should be differentiated for levels of readiness if resources allow. It is also important that the leaders of the organization model good technology usage, showing learners the behavior you want to see. In your training, you also need to set clear expectations for your learners, making the objectives transparent. If you choose to evaluate your learners based on the implementation, it is vital that they are aware of that. At this point, it is important to set some increments at which you want to evaluate the success of implementation. Depending on your organization's timeline and needs, this may start 1 or 3 months out and continue for a year or more. It is always important to evaluate technology implementation so that it continues to meet your needs and the learner's needs. In order to evaluate effectiveness of your initiative, it is important to revisit your learning objectives and the questions you ask to make your decision. For example, make sure the learners are interacting with the technology as you imagined. Revisit the motivating factors. One way to gain feedback is to solicit it from the learners who are using the technology. Are there any concerns they have? Are there issues that have not been dealt with? What do they like about the product? It is best to share useful information that you collect from your learners with the group as a whole. Finally, determine the successes and reevaluate if needed. Not all technology implementations will be immediately successful, so revisit any step in the process when changes are needed. Thank you for watching my video and good luck with your next technology initiative. Please visit francisgarwood.com to learn more about my instructional design experience.